explain what we got going on, explain kind of the schedule that we're on, explain some of the unknowns that we have yet in both the schedule and in the funding that's gonna obviously dictate how or when this work is actually to be done. So, Ken, do you wanna come up and help kind of explain what we have going on? I'll just kind of, the brief introduction is we have work like we talked about at levels 3, level 1, and level 5. I didn't do that in consecutive order. So level 1 here, we're doing some work in here, putting in a bulkhead and rehabbing whatever the amount of the portal needs to be done to get to the bulkhead location. Level 3 is up here, looking at sealing off these raises and sending the water out level 3 and down to level 1. And then level 5 is here. It's not connected to any of the lower workings, but there's a mine waste pile for those of you who've been up there, and the water discharges like right into that pile, filters through the pile, and then down into some wetlands across the road. So we're looking at routing the discharge around the pile and then out to over to what we call level 98, which is only called level 98 because it's not affiliated with the standard mine. There's not 98 levels, and that's what's shown over here. So trying to get that water not only out of the waste rock pile, but also away from anywhere close to level 3. You can see it's kind of up gradient of level 3 here. We're trying to minimize the amount of water that might percolate down into level 3 from level 5. So directing the discharge away from the trend of level 3 above ground. If that makes any sense.
Is that going to bypass the wetlands as well?
Yes. So we may see a decrease in wetlands, but we think that the net benefit would be a net gain because of, you would have less infiltration coming into level 3 that you then have to worry about treating. So, Ken, do you want to go over the details?
Sure.
Okay.
Well, first I want to tell you I spend my days in a fairly dark office in a high-rise, so thank you for getting me out of Denver, this beautiful part of the state. I'm going to kind of start from the top, so forgive me if I've been redundant with some of what you've heard already. But the remedy for the site involves several incremental measures intended to reduce loading. It proposes work in reasonably accessible parts of the mine, and then it provides for a contingency in the event that the first phases of work don't perform adequately. And as Tom explained, the general conceptual model seems to be, the data supports this, that the contaminant concentrations in the water emerging from the mine is a function of the residence time of the water in the mine. So the data show that as it sits there and kind of stagnates over the winter, there's a lot of chemistry that goes on. In the spring, after that initial flush, as water is moving into the mine, it generally moves out fairly quickly, and so it doesn't have time to react. So part of the remedy that's proposed here is to essentially reduce residence time. So as Christina was explaining, starting at the top in the level 3 work, we want to stop the water that's entering level 3 from spending more time in the workings. We want to get it out and keep it from working its way slowly down and picking up more chemicals as it goes down. So the obvious things we need to do first is to seal these vertical connections to the lower levels. But it's also important, since we're exhausting this water out of level 3, to minimize the amount of time that it even spends in level 3. So part of the remedy is going to involve removing some of these obstructions, like the muck piles, and then establishing a small channel in material that's going to remain on the floor of the adit in order to allow this water to flow freely by gravity and get out. So the whole idea is keep it from moving vertically. That water that does enter, we want to get it out in a day. And so remove all the debris, level out what remaining material lies on the bottom, and establish a small channel there. The level 1 work has a slightly different purpose. In that instance,